back to Braun Beat. I'm Todd Wohl. Today we're going to be speaking with Steve Spire. Steve Spire is an expert state and federal court receiver, and Steve is going to be speaking about how real estate is sold in receivership, how business assets are sold in receivership. What is a receiver? What are their roles? What do they do? How are they appointed? And how, of course, Braun integrates with receivers. So, as an expert receiver, Steve, why don't you tell everyone, first, what is the purpose of a receiver?
Well, first of all, Todd, let me thank you for calling me an expert. and the purpose of a receiver is to be an independent third party who takes over a property, a business, or a judgment and operates it as if he was the owner. Generally, I'm put in as a receiver by the attorneys for different parties. I've been named as a receiver in family law matters, real estate cases, operating cases, lender cases, disputes between the parties, ownership disputes, and the different attorneys will suggest that I be the receiver. Right. Now, the interesting thing about that is that the party that's seeking the receiver, that names me, that recommends me, the other party doesn't necessarily respond to me. They don't argue about me. They argue about having a receiver in there. So I don't have to take anything personally if they offend me. But in reality, out of all the cases that I've been in, I think I've only had one time when one party disputed my appointment.
Our audience wants to understand what a receiver does in real estate and then what a receiver does in the operating business.
Receivership properties that are real estate properties are probably the easiest to take over. If you don't have a party that cooperates with you to give you the information, you can always get the information you need from the tenants, and you can always get the information from the bank that has the accounts. It's when you get into operating businesses where you have to look at contracts and accounts receivable and payables, and it's a lot more difficult.
Your goal is to ultimately resolve the situation, is that correct?
That's correct. That's correct. The best thing to do is communicate with all parties and resolve it to the satisfaction of all parties. There are always two sides to every story.
And in two sides you have different interests, different opinions, different goals. Of all those businesses, would you say it's 50-50 that you ultimately sold the business or liquidated the business? Is there a percentage?
I'd say probably 75% were sold or liquidated. Sold or liquidated.
Sold or liquidated. And is it more a goal of a receiver to ultimately maximize the value of that business? What's your opinion about that?
That's correct. We want to maximize the value of the business, and sometimes that means taking some proactive action to improve the business. That owners might have had a dispute, they couldn't agree on it. You listen to both sides, you make the decision, and take that action.
The benefit of a buyer buying the asset, be it the real estate, be it the business, through the receivership court, why don't you tell our audience, our viewers, what is that benefit for them?
Well, Todd, first of all, I have to say, before you sell the property, I do the hard work. I go into court and I get it approved, and hopefully I get both parties to agree to the sale. And you have to get court approval to do it. So you're not going to go in, if you have both parties against you, you're not going to be able to go into court and get it approved. So you're not going to take that step. But then you have to go back and communicate with both parties and see what will work to maximize the value and achieve the goals for both parties.
Clear title, clean ownership, no disputes. Anything else you want to add?
I think all of the above. And when I typically sell in receivership, I will sell as if it's an auction. So I have multiple bidders there, and we generally achieve the highest price in that manner.
Oh, well, there's no question, be it bankruptcy or receivership, I can say firsthand that the results of the sale price ultimately get market value.
And sometimes we get above market value. It's a beautiful thing to have bidders bidding against each other and bidding it up. Cool. You're benefiting both the plaintiff and the defendant when that happens.
Yes.
And all of a sudden they both become happy, and it's a beautiful thing.
So what you do is applicable to all aspects of people's business lives.
Correct.
That's a great tribute to your success. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Braun Beat. Thanks for watching, and again, I'm Todd Wohl with Braun. Take care, bye-bye.